Lowercase n, one of the most unique fantasy football players ever. The guy couldn't even get into the league because of the passcode was a lowercase n and he kept putting a capital. That's where his name comes from. So you figure, you know, what the heck does this guy know about fantasy football? But he knew one thing for many years. Take Peyton Manning and keep him. So he didn't keep him last year. He kept Andy Dalton. I like Andy Dalton, just don't love him, especially not over Peyton Manning. Granted, you had your doubts about him, but you know what? You don't hold on to Manning all year just to drop and keep Dalton. Andy Dalton, Arian Foster, Hakeem Nicks, his three keepers going into the draft. Another business sense, know your losses. He took Peyton in the first round, like that pick. People were scared of him. Look, Peyton Manning's gonna blow up this year. I feel extremely confident. Not saying this as a Bronco fan, just saying this as a football fan. The Broncos just had a much better team than the Colts did. The offensive line is better. He's going to be upright. They can run the ball better. They got a much better running game than the Colts ever had. And let me ask you this. Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Joseph Adai. What happened to those three guys when Peyton left? They all fell off the face of the earth. Demaryius Thomas, Jacob Tamme, Willis McGahee. Thomas McGahee erupted last year with Tim Tebow at quarterback. I'm not knocking Tebow here. I'm a huge Tebow fan. And you know what? He helped me win the championship last year. I think he's going to blow up this year. Anywho, those guys blew up with Tebow, not Peyton Manning, okay? Jacob Tamme. Jacob Tamme is a PPR machine. He was with Peyton in Indy. And you know what? After Peyton left, he fell off the face of the earth. And now he's back with Peyton. Where I'm going with this, Peyton's on a better team, better offense, better coach. Not knocking Tony Dungy here. I think Dungy's a very good coach. It's the other guy, the Caldwell guy. The guy who lasted 2 years. In 2 years, how do you get released after you take your team to the Super Bowl? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, it makes perfect sense. Peyton Manning brought your team to the Super Bowl, not Jim Caldwell. Lowercase n snaked Antonio Gates right under my eyes, okay? You know why I love Antonio Gates? Because he's the only viable option that Phillip Rivers has to throw to. You know Rivers is going to throw the ball. I like a couple of the other options, but Gates is the number one option coming out of that offense. Hands down, I wanted him bad. On top of the whole Peyton Manning talk, Eric Decker, he got him in the 6th round. That's a great pickup. There's nothing wrong with Eric Decker. Would you have taken Reggie Wayne during the Marvin Harrison days? Absolutely you would. Put him in the flex spot. He'll be great all year. Stole Crabtree round 17. Stole him. I think we lost track of Crabtree with the whole 49ers and NFC Championship and the whole signing of Randy Moss. Which brings me to my negatives. He took Randy Moss in the 2nd round. He took Ahmad Bradshaw in the 3rd round. And then he took Rashad Jennings in the 7th round. Way too early for those guys. Way too early for Jennings. Jones-Drew, we don't even know yet. A pet peeve of mine is taking defense early. Individual defensive player he took in round 8. This is a 23 round draft. That's including the 3 keepers. So ideally he took him around 11. Those are plug and plays. A dime a dozen. Why are you taking him when there's still viable players on the board? Greg Little, round 9. Really? Seriously? Getting to the team grades, I gotta say, as much as it was a stupid idea keeping Andy Dalton, dropping Peyton Manning, he made up for it by drafting Manning right away. So you know what? I like Manning and Dalton going into it. And you know, he did draft a late Brandon Weeden. Brandon Weeden, I don't think is going to be anything special off the bat. But you know, the guy's 28 years old and they play professional sports. I think he'll be great backup going up and behind Peyton Manning on the bye week. And Andy Dalton, who's up and coming. And I think he's going to also have a decent year. Not a Peyton Manning year, but a decent year. Quarterback grade going in with Peyton Manning and Andy Dalton. Brandon Weeden as a backup. You know what? I can't say anything less than an A-. I just may be castrated for not giving a running back grade an A when someone's sitting on Arian Foster. But it's very easy when you draft Ahmad Bradshaw, who's as injury prone as they come, and then go and cover it up with a Ben Jarvis Greenhouse, who, you know, he can do very well, but he's just unproven yet. He was never a dynamite fantasy back. And then a Rashad Jennings, and then you go all the way down, and wait a second. Don't draft any other running backs. So ideally you're going in with Arian Foster, which I love, and Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, maybe get 1 or 2 games out of Rashawn Jennings, and Ahmad Bradshaw you might get 1 or 2 games out of. I just don't like it. Take the business approach to this one and adapt as the year goes on. But in the meantime, your draft grade in running backs is a B+. Wide receivers. You're going in with Hakeem Nicks, who should give you good numbers, and then you're lining him up with who now? You draft Randy Moss in the 2nd round. You know what? Potential sleeper pick. I don't really like where that was taken. Eric Decker I like. Greg Little I hate. And on top of all that, you stole Michael Crabtree, which possibly could be your saving grace. But you know what? It's not enough for me to really accept this as an upper echelon wide receiver crew. Start Nicks, start Decker, play with Moss, play with Crabtree, and just cut Greg Little. Wide receiver grade B-. I'm sorry. You just don't have any more than 2 viable starters. Tight end A, hands down. You know what? He drafted 2, saved his ass there. Antonio Gates absolutely makes that an A grade right off the bat. Dallas Clark as the 2nd one. Yeah, I think I mentioned him a little bit before. Let me tell you something about Dallas Clark. He's with no Peyton Manning, but he still knows how to play football. Tight end A, solid all the way. This is a huge pet peeve of mine. I hate when people do this. In an independent defensive starter league, okay, you have 4 defensive players you can put anywhere and 2 cornerbacks. There is absolutely no reason to draft 8 defensive players. I hate that. That totally brought his draft grade right down from a B+ to a B-.